Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another StackLeague Tech session, and this is in partnership with GDG CDO, the impact of typography on user experience. So, welcome to our YouTube viewers. We have a few students already signing or tuning in to our live broadcast. Welcome again to StackLeague GDG CDO Tech session. All right. So, before we start with our session this evening, I would like to ask our audience how they are doing. Kumusta ka mo diha? Kumusta mo diha? Naabay taga Cagayan de Oro dinhi sa ato ang mga viewers. We have a few from Bulacan, we have from Iloilo, from Davao. Okay, welcome everyone. So today we will have another learning experience here in Stack League, and we are very pleased to see you for our second tech session already for this year. All right, so I am Casey, and I will be your host for tonight's event. I would like to also remind everyone that if you have any questions about the session, you can type them in the comment section so that we will be able to address them later at the Q&A session. All right, so before we dive into tonight's session, Stack League Season 3 is launching very soon. And with that, I would like to give a quick overview of what we have for you this year. Okay, so Stack League is a pioneering programmer league, and we are now gathering over thousands of tech talents across the country to test their coding acuity with a promise of nationwide recognition, lots of prizes, more tech job opportunities, and invitation only events such as this one and many other training. One of the highlights is the weekly top 10, and here we post the rankings real time. So you can check on our website who the top programmers are for that week. And then apart from this, we also have the Stack League featured programmer campaign, wherein all the weekly top 10 players will be featured on our website. And this will be shared on uh, different social media channels. So Stack League will also be hosting numerous tech and career sessions, so just like this one, all throughout the year, and there are also exclusive training available for ranking up the next Stack League levels. And these trainings and events are all for free with digital certificates. And of course, you can also look forward to more on-site Stack League sessions. So we're now slowly going back to having face-to-face events. So you can also look forward on that one. So the tournament is powered by StackRec's fully automated talent analytics and assessment platform. And these are the five programming languages, supported programming languages here. We have JavaScript, Java, Python, C Sharp, and PHP. Now, for the rankings, this is how it will work. After you sign up, you just solve as many challenges as you can. So when you complete a challenge, you will earn points, and once you have enough accumulated points, you can unlock the next level challenges where there will be more opportunities for you to access. Now, the official start of the scoring will be announced on our official launch, and this means all scores will reset back to zero. All right, so we have here the three Stack League levels, and when you for this one, we the level up prizes are still ongoing. So whenever you unlock, or once you unlock bronze, you will receive 100 pesos. Once you unlock silver, that's another 100 pesos, and then once you unlock gold, you will receive 300 pesos. Now, the new thing for Stack League Season 3 is this one. We have divided the league into two divisions. We have the Pro League and the Student League. So that means we will have two sets of weekly winners every week this time around. So for Pro League, you will get the top 10 players will get 500 pesos. And the same goes for the Student League. The top 10 will also receive 500 pesos weekly. These are weekly prizes. And so the Pro League is open to all professionals who have graduated and or have working experience, while the Student League is open to all students who have no working experience. All right, so that means there's a total of 20 winners every week just for the weekly top rankings alone. And not only that, all the weekly winners will be will automatically be invited to the playoffs monthly qualifier rounds. So the playoffs is a single elimination tournament featuring all monthly qualifiers, and the players or the qualified players can earn points by solving as many challenges as they can during the competition itself. And we have finally launched our ambassador program. So we are starting, or the first ambassador of the month will be for February. You can check the mechanics at bit.ly/StackLeague23 ambassador for more details. And this is a program that will reward StackLeague participants who go beyond the competition through referral program and blog writing. All right. So there will be more details to be revealed or to be announced during the StackLeague Season 3 official launch. That's on February 12th. So I hope you guys will be able to join us by then. All right. So let's not delay any further. We will now proceed with the tech session. So, our resource speaker this evening is a designer and a tech community leader. She is the Women Tech Makers Ambassador and Country Lead of GDG Cagayan de Oro. She specializes in design management and is a design systems and design ops practitioner. Growing up in a family of educators, she has been passionate about leading organizations where she's able to contribute back to her local community through volunteering, speaking, mentoring, and organizing inclusive tech programs and conferences that aim to promote growth, learning, and career development. And she is also a certified cat lover. Let's give a warm welcome to Estella Bravo. Hi, Estella. Good afternoon. Good
Hi.
welcome.
Hello, good evening. All right. So, okay, thank you for that, Cassie. So sorry, I'm so confused with my screen right now, but I hope you can hear me clearly. Hi, everyone. So, thank you for joining the virtual event for tonight. And in this session, I'll be discussing to you more on the typography and how does it help improving your user experience. So, all right. Okay, so quick introduction. I think that Cassie have introduced me better than I can, but yes, I'm a designer, technical leader, WTM ambassador as well, and yeah, I focus more now on leading a design team. And about my talk for tonight, I'll be introducing just brief classifications of typography, just like, like saying hi to these different typefaces. And then we'll proceed to the main agenda, which is how we can improve our UX on our site and applications through typography, some practices I can discuss you that I've been using for years in being in the design field. And then just like also some key metrics that you can actually use to measure the improvement or how does your interface actually help your users, like user retention, accessibility, and readability. And then if we still like have time later on, I hope so because I'm going to also introduce you some typography, like how does it invoke emotion. So yes, typography does invoke emotion. We will tackle it later on. And all right, so some classifications of typography, I think these are like just some of it, like the most common one. And also um, often used in design. So there's like a lot classification out there, but I just chose those used most often that we can see not only digitally but also around us, like our books, um, like printed materials, flyers, or signage, right? Like those are like have those skills. I think if you're viewing some videos that actually shows these skills when people are painting signages on roads. That is a skill, by the way, typography skill. So this is a serif, most often the cleanest class of typography, most used when it comes to application design, like web app or mobile app. And famous serif font that I can remember or I can introduce is actually Inter. It's free, it's clean, it has a really good documentation as well. And then another one is a Slab. I think I can like name Robotos Lab, and then sans serif. This two here is actually like the most common one. Classifications that I think some of you might not know, but is actually often used when it comes to designs, whether it's digital or printed. So sans serif is famous for having this look of professionals. Can also be used in newspapers, magazines, ebooks, being the header or headline used for headlines. Then there's like monospace. One of the I think very famous monospace typography is the SF Mono or the San Francisco Mono created by Apple. So it's usually applied when we are having the snippets, like code snippets. And there's display, but in other term for display, it can also be called decorative. Most displays are actually used for um, occasions, banners like Christmas, Halloween, like it's actually something very decorative typefaces. All right, so moving forward, just check. Okay, so how can we improve user accessibility? What are the practices and tips, and what are key metrics that we can actually use to measure the success of the accessibility of our website or applications? So number one is the readability. One of the most important when it comes to catering the needs of your user or user group, especially with those having, like me, I have glasses, so I do need those fonts and sizes actually that is clear and also can like help me to read all the details that I needed. For example, when reading in social media, when reading blogs, um, perhaps like if you're familiar with Medium, so you can actually see that's very important. The typography in there actually really helps when it comes to user retention and accessibility. So things to consider when it comes to the readability and to enhance it is clear and legible typefaces, appropriate line height, and kerning. Kerning means letter spacing, those space between letters, and then variance availability. Variance availability are the font weights. Like if I'm gonna name it as a variable, they're regular, light. Um, there's also semi-bold and bold. There's some that has a heavy or block. And if it's going to, if there are, I think like there are developers in here, in codes, it's actually in numbers like 100 to 900. So I remember, if I remember correct me if I'm wrong, that regular is actually 400 when it comes to like the codes, and bold is 800, like 700 or 800. Mean that. And okay, so readability ensures appropriate line height, margins, and font sizes for easy reading. So I think like the previous versions, what's the most common? I think Facebook. One of the problem that I see before, I think it's last year, I'm having the face actually the font sizes, especially with those who actually long post, those who runs, those favorite article or like posts that we see showbiz, they have like totally like a very long descriptions or captions in their posts. It's very like hard to read because of the issues in line height. But when I checked it earlier, preparing my talk, like browsing my talk, actually good enough. I think they improved the sizes on it comes to their mobile application in Facebook. So for this one, let's zoom it. Okay, so how, for example, this one. Okay, this is an example. Let's focus more on this. So you can see that it's a bit of like childish, and I think if you're very familiar with Comic Sans, it's actually the most hated. I think like it most hated typefaces when it comes to design. So this is like a family of Comic Sans, like it's called like Comic Noia. So we can see in here, if you can type a comment there, if you have suggestion in how we can actually improve the readability in this, type your comments in there. And well, we can definitely improve the number one is the size, the line height, and the kerning. I'm gonna show you a bit of a demo on how can we actually improve this one. So first things first is, like as I've mentioned earlier, the practices that we should consider is the legibility and how the clarity of the typeface. So let's go back in here and let's improve this one. So let's say that we need to change first. So we chose this ref I mentioned earlier about enter. And then the next one, I hope if you can see this panel in here. It's a bit small, but we just like use some of the accessibility in my laptop. Okay, I hope like this works. Okay, so you can see here that no, it's not working for me. But anyway, if you have this design panel in Figma, you can see it like in text, under text. And then this one is 12. All right, so the ideal or the optimal size for mobile screens actually is 16. But sometimes we actually go for 14 because 16 can sometimes be very just like large or like very huge for paragraph. But we go for 16 right now. Let's choose Okay, let's choose this one and let's move this a bit. Okay, so you can see it in there that we have changed the first the typeface and then second the size. All right, and then another one is the like it's hard to read because of how cramped it is. There's just no way to read. Like if I see this, I just can't read on this. So for to give it more readability, we can actually use math when it comes to standardizations of our line spacing. So the optimal multiplier of paragraph for paragraph is 1.5. So it means that type size times 1.5. So 16 times 1.5, we get 24. If you actually get like let's say 23.8, something like that, round it off to the closest four, like the most appropriate closest four of it. All right, so we see in here that there is a like a bit of improvement, but I think that we can still improve it here. I wanted this paragraph to have a bit of like spacing between this second paragraph in here, or like second group of like line, and then another space in here. Others might do this, but you can actually automate this one. So how you're gonna do this is to go for the paragraph. So go for that more, and it will pop something like type settings. You see this. And then what I want is to add paragraph spacing. So when I add a paragraph spacing, most often I use like 50% of its line height to get the optimal paragraph spacing. So let's say 24 divided by 2. Yes, you can do calculations. You can treat calculator it as a calculator in like the Figma itself. You can do arithmetic inside Figma app. So yeah, so as you can see, it automates the paragraph that I have, right? So it gives like more reading space in there, and also it improves the readability. So if we compare it, let's copy this one. if we compare it, I hope I'm not lagging from your side and my screen is fine. So if you compare it in here, it's actually may take up a lot of space in your screen, but the important thing is that it's still visible within the screen size, like the length of the screen. And it is friendlier, it's actually readable, and it does improve the visibility of your types or your text. So, okay. So another one, okay, like what practices, just to recap, what did we do? We actually added a size, I think. I've added first, adjusted first the typeface, and then the size, and then next is the line height and the kerning or the line letter spacing. So applying arithmetic to typography is actually very important because it could give you more of like standardizations. Like it will also help you when it comes to like design decisions. So you don't have to like, okay, I'm gonna add like 16 because it looks beautiful, it looks clear, I guess. So it will just like, ruin the consistency as well. So actually my earphone is acting weird. I hope I'm still like clear on your side. But all right. So for heading and subheading, oh, by the way, like questions I will answer later, right? So don't worry. Yeah, I'll give enough time for the questions later. So for the heading and subheading, the optimal like multiplier for the line height is 1.2. The bigger, like typically the bigger the font size is actually the tighter it is. So when it comes to kerning, I also apply adjustments when how close this types or heading. So when it comes to like the heading and subheading, I apply like negative 1.0, like negative values up to negative 2.5 because there are typefaces that I want to use, but they're just like too far from each other. So it just like break the proximity of the header. So I want it to be a bit tighter. And that also comes with the line height and even like the paragraph as well. So I multiplied it to 1.2, round to the nearest 4 px or 4 point if you are getting like 4 point divisible numbers. So for the next one is responsiveness. All right. So responsiveness is one of the most important thing to consider when you are designing. Imagine that nowadays people are actually using mobile most often than they used to, right? We carry our mobile phones anywhere. That is also why mobile first approach is getting popular, just like Twitter. If you notice, like how their interface evolved, they actually went to mobile first because they noticed that some people just don't, like they just don't like, um, let's say that they just don't like downloading and installing to their phones, and they just want to use the browser. So that's why like they decided to have it like their interface and applications can be viewed in smaller devices. So when I say responsiveness, actually your typography or your text was able to adapt on different screen dimensions. When it comes to different screen dimension, it means that from ultra wide, like 4K monitor screen, to a laptop, like a 1080 laptop, to a tablet, and then the smallest one is the phone. So things to consider that is the size, still very important, the typographic breakpoints, which I will elaborate later, and just like some idea when it comes to naming, and like when designers hand off different typography or like their type system to their designers, such as like an overview of the like semantic naming when it comes to typography, because there can be a lot, like you have header 1 to 6, you have multiple paragraph sizes, and you have multiple subheading, and then you have different screen dimensions to cater on. So key metrics is adaptability, accessibility, and user satisfaction. I included user satisfaction with content responsiveness because I experienced some of the, I think the website that um I'm accessing through mobile is actually not responsive, but I have to like submit something. It's actually kind of painful. So um user satisfaction is also including key metrics when it comes to responsiveness. So responsiveness is ensuring that your texts were able to adapt to different screen sizes. So, um, all right. So for the next one is, this is just an example that for this one is like the web version of it that I preview. And this, for example, is your header one. And then you have a paragraph like XL, or like the largest paragraph size. And then you have this label. But when it comes to like mobile, some bad practices that I happen to stumble is that they have this H1 to H6. And then when designer were asked to create like a breakpoint, they use H2 for mobile. It's actually the practice like before, like way back. But right now, it is essential to have a different scaling when it comes to your web version of headers and to your mobile version of header, which means that you have header one for your website or your web applications version. And when it comes to your mobile version, there should be a header one for mobile as well. So that is like something like more optimal when it comes to like design engineering collaborations and standardizing your typography or like your type system. So like as I've mentioned earlier, this is like the typographic breakpoints. Okay, what is breakpoint? Breakpoint means that when will the change happen? Like at what point or what size of the screen will your text or your interface change? For example, you have a 1080, all right? You have your 1080 screen, and then at what point will this interface, like overall interface, including the typography or the text, will change if the user used smaller devices. So the most common right now is actually the 1080 or like or 1440 px screen, like the dimension. Right, we're talking about dimension here. 1440 px, and for mobile devices is it's actually I think it's four 800 right now, if I'm correct. Let's check. Okay. Let's check in here first. Okay. So Figma actually offers like a bit, like a lot of like different screens or the different devices sample. But most often when I design mobile applications, I use the iPhone X before, but they seem to remove it. So I usually use the iPhone 13 Pro Max, like which is a 428, or if it's like too large, I would go for iPhone SE, and then smaller than that. So you have to set like the smallest from largest to smallest. So large devices would be laptop, monitors, medium would be tablet, and then small would be the mobile phones. So that's like breakpoints. Where or when, at what size will the interface change when it comes to different screen dimensions? I hope that's clear. I hope like I explained breakpoints clearly to you guys. Anyway, for paragraph, okay. Paragraph are typically multi-line, right? There's a lot of paragraph in there, so you want it more readable. So want it more to be pleasing to that, like readable, right? So when it comes to the multiplier for line height, it's most often like 1.5. That's the optimal 1.5. So font size times 1.5, that's your line height. And if you get non-divisible by 4, then round it off to the nearest 4. That's your base. So For kerning, my like personally, my practice in there is just to like not touch like the kerning when it comes to paragraph, but when it comes to like smallest, like for example, if I went to like 12 px, it's really small and I have to all capital letter it, so it's kind of compressed. So I have to add kerning in there or letter spacing. So I went from 1% to 1.5%. So just make it more breathable. All right. So for bottom labels and captions, I'm the practice in here is to base the line height on its baseline. Because okay, let me just give you an example. This is actually based on the let's see it. Okay, based on like its baseline. Just recheck that if I'm checking. Okay. All right. So that's 18. So our multiplier is 100%. Oops, okay, it's just wrong. So our multiplier, so typically it's still like 18. So that is your base. So you will know if it's in its baseline because like you can see it in here, like the pixels are closer enough to the text itself. So what will happen if this is or like these are auto layout, all right? So you can see that if it's baseline, we get 13, 13 in here. And rather than focusing so much on, like equal, I know that sometimes I do this as well, like it should be like have an equal margin, padding, stuff like that. I get like OZ on that. It needs to be equally distributed. So I have this like vertical padding 12 in value and horizontal padding for 20. So that's like the spacing inside. But um, I we have to take a look of its proportionality. This is something that some designers actually list the proportionality of their design, like how symmetric it is to the eye of the user. That's proportionality. If we are not going to face this, the line height is based on its baseline. Let's say that we just gonna set it to auto. You can see the fact that it's actually the point in there maybe like 12, but in the eyes it's just like below here it's somehow like bigger, like the bottom pattern is somehow bigger, but if you check on it, it has the same value, like they have 12 in both, but it's not just as proportion as I want it to be. I don't know if you guys can like see it, but I think the designer can actually like very sensitive when it comes to this, like little details. So it's not as proportion as you want it to be. So labels are most often one-liner, even like the captions. So getting the baseline of it is optimal. So for the next one is these are like the optimal font sizes breakpoints when it comes to different devices. So it's for paragraph or body text. So when it comes to the monitors or laptop, it's actually 20 to 24 px. That's the like optimal font size that can be readable. And then for smaller device like your cell phones is 16. You can go 14. I have like practice 14 px as well. It's readable still. And you have 18 px per tablet. When it comes to like mobile as well, you have to consider those like the age and as I've experienced on this, like when my mom is actually like asking for help because like the text is just really, really small. So I have to make an adjustments on the type sizes of her phone. So that is something like I think if your user group is along that age, with like our moms, not all she's pretty hello mom. But yeah, so like we have to consider those like user groups as well. That's why it's very important to study our target customers. All right, so this is just an example of how we can like practice. I'm going to give you like a bit of a demo. An example how we can practice in web the responsiveness. All right, so how to go lumpia? So I love lumpia. You guys love lumpia. So super Filipino, right? So, all right. So this one is like the header, subhead, and then the paragraph. And I have like an item paragraph in here. So if you want to like take a look at the size, we have the 80px, 40px, and 20px for the web. That's the web version. So let's proceed. Okay, I'm gonna show you an example on how to actually like turn this into a mobile. So I've set values already, and we can move forward faster. So this is like the web and the mobile version of it. So let me just have, okay, it's the same. All right. So for, as you can see, these are both like the same header, but on a different mobile application. And then this one is a subheading. And okay, so subheading and then the paragraph. So as you can see, there's a difference of font sizes, but they have similar functions. So if you're going to copy this, let me just copy this one. Okay. And then turn it into like in here, to apply it in here. So let's go first for the the header. So which is 44px in size. Let's change that 44px. So as you can see, there's like a very large there. Number of it. So 44 times 1.2. Okay, so we got 52.8. So what's the closest number of 52.8? Like 4 point is actually, it's either you go back like lesser, it's 48, or you go forward, it's 56. But I think the closest is 48. Just say it's 48. Okay, so we have our how to cook a lumpia. Maybe we can also center align it. Okay, so as you can see the difference, right? So that's 44. How did I like get 44? Most of that I just like divide it by 2 and then make an adjustments to make like to optimize the sizes of the heading one for mobile. So I always go for a base. Like I wanna always think like, okay, maybe this, maybe this. At least I use math or like arithmetic for that. You always like go for, if I wanna go for smaller version of a header one or header two, I just divide it by 2 and then like make adjustments. And then for the subhead, let's go for 24 and then 24 times 1.2. So we have 28. 28 is actually divisible by 4. Okay, so let's also have this. Let's say that this is central line. You have this header, and then we have this instructions in here. And for paragraph, we go for 18. Let's go for 18, and then 18 times 1.5. And then we want also to adjust the paragraph spacing on it. Oh, the item. Okay, the list spacing. So we have like, oh, we have 27. So let's go for 28 on that. And then we have the list spacing. So 28 divided by 2. So we get 14 on it, but still it's too like far away from each other. Let's check it out. Let's check it out first before we make adjustments for its list. See, okay, did we get it? Let's make it 32. And then, all right. So I think it's just too far. It's very important. Like one of the thing that you also consider when designing is the basic laws of UX. It's actually like grouping them together. And this item this here is one group, right? Like the law of proximity, the law of similarity, the law of group. You call that grouping? I think it's proximity. But all right, so we make adjustments in it. Let's go for 12. Oh, 12 is actually, let's go for it. All right, so we got that 8. 8 is divisible by 4. And go here. And then we get the, okay, so maybe we can also have this like left align just to unify them all. So there you have it. We have our, let's go for 16. But I have like 18 on that. 1 point. 5, like we got 24, got 8. Okay, so the paragraph is 16. I forgot my tips earlier that for mobile, 16 is actually the optimal one. Okay, so there you have it. Like we like quickly change the responsiveness of our text from the web version to the mobile version. All right, for the next one is, yep, for as I've said earlier, the naming, your font size is in CSS. So I got this like from Chakra UI. It's also like a framework for front-end developers. So instead of like giving them actual values, like, hey developer, the size for the design, I mean the heading one is 60. So they're gonna give like value in it, but that is really not optimal when it comes to updating, change logs, stuff like that. So it's very important to also have naming bases or like a system when it comes to your different sizes of typography. So to optimize that, just use variables. So some would just say like in our practices in the company that I'm working with is more like XS or 3XS to like 3XL. So we have medium, large, like that is how we name our variables. It's actually like easier and it's also um can be understood by like human, like even with non designers and non developers. So for the next one, I hope like that's not so like overload with you guys. But all right. Okay, so let's have the contrast and hierarchy. So when it comes to contrast and hierarchy, it's actually the use of size, weight, and color. This is why when you're choosing your typefaces, you have to consider the variable. If there's like only one variable on the typography, well, it's not practical to actually use it. So I would suggest to look for another one. So when it comes to like the typography, oh, I haven't added like considerations, but yeah, it's still like more like size, weight, and color when it comes to the contrast and the hierarchy. So contrast is actually refers to the difference between the light and the dark. So it's more on like the difference between the color of your text and the color of the background or the surface. While hierarchy is actually the arrangement of your elements, like which one in particular do you want the user see or read first. Like when it comes to like the hierarchy, there's always like one element on your interface where the user actually land their eye first, right? So it's a good practice, especially when it comes to like marketing or like if you want to promote something or if there's like a feature you want the users to navigate to. So usually when it comes to like banners, if you open Gcash, if you guys are using Gcash, if you open Gcash, they always like, man, there's a banner in there because that's the first thing that they actually want you to see, but kind of be annoying. So, okay, this is an example of the contrast. So the practice in here is more on like just reversing. So whatever the surface or the background that I use in here is actually just like the text that I use in here. So it's very important to create contrast. So let's zoom in that and so that you guys can also read it. I hope you guys can read it. So the header, so there's like they're usually the darkest one of the element, like the if it's black or maybe like a darker shade of color, it's actually I mean usually the header, and then there's a subheader or paragraph. When it comes to paragraph, use more friendly or I mean like friendlier contrast. um I would suggest like avoiding using true black and true white. That's FFF and 000, especially to paragraph. Like a lot of text, because it's just gonna hurt your eyes big time. Okay, the user's retention will get affected. So for all like the designers out there, please like do not use like true black and true white against each other when it comes to paragraph. I think it's fine when it comes to like larger. text, or like when it comes to websites. But when it comes to like your application, mobile application, like try to find those shades that are actually rather like friendlier and smoother um for the eyes of the user. So this one is the lowest contrast that will actually use for placeholders or disabled states. So it's saying it's just a reverse for the dark version. This is like when you have light mode and dark mode. Okay, so this is a very famous, to be honest, this is not original. This is a famous test when you are applying hierarchy to your design. So is it, I don't know, like is it effective to you guys? Like which one did you read first? Which one did you read next? And which one did you read last? If you guys can um respond to the comment section, let me know which one did you read first and which one did you read last. Okay, so you'll it's just like something that I want to test as well to you guys. So you'll read this first. Yeah, so that is like actually the power of hierarchy. Like whether you swap it all up, if I'm gonna add this honest and have it like a bit you know, like larger text in there. So if you're gonna have this, then read this next. Okay, so that's the power of hierarchy. So let's go back to our lumpia. So with this, you can see like even though this one is actually placed first before this one, you can definitely just want to read this as well. Like even I mixed colors in here, you would read this first and this and this. There's a power of color and also sizes. And even like this one's distracted. So let's refactor this one, okay? Let's refactor, try to refactor how you can like improve, because this is supposed to be the title. This is supposed to be the subheading. And it's a very important to when it comes like to designing, like you also assign functionalities on each like text that you add to your design. So the intention in here is this, like how to cook a lumpia. That's supposed to be the heading. Like to cook a lumpia, follow these steps. Either way, the first thing that I read is this one. So first is first is I want to have it smaller. It's not really something that I want everyone to read through. So let's have this smaller for the menu. And then let's go for a bit darker. I'm actually using my system in here and use it as like the headline one. I want the sub headline. How did I get actually like headline versus sub headline? Use the double the point system. Double the point system. Just show this to you quickly. It's actually more on like if this is if let's say if this is 2x, then your headline would be 4x. That is how you can use like sub headline versus headline. The value of this is 80. That's 80px. And the value of this, what's the like 80 divided by 2 is actually 40px. Let's check. Yeah, that's 40. And the font weight. Okay, play around the font weight. This is bold. The practices before is that as long as it's sub-headline and headline, they use bold, medium, semi-bold, but it's actually just like destroying your hierarchy and contrast. Use regular or even light just to have a contrast between two different texts. Why? Because they play different roles, right? So for this one, it's actually like paragraph already. So this is how you can refactor it. So the first thing that I read is how to Olympia. Okay, to go Olympia, follow the steps. So this is the paragraph that I want you to read next. All right, I hope the hierarchy is clear for you guys. Consistency is more on like color applications and the type options, also like the typographical style that you use. So key metrics in there is brand awareness and established brand identity. So if you are following Apple or Google, like those big giant businesses, they actually follow the even like Uber. Uber is a really nice branding. They actually follow very strict guidelines when it comes to consistency of their typography, even like with the color. So consistency is involving the same typographic element throughout your design. That comes with the font sizes, line spacing, and color. Okay, so this is an example with a 60-30-10 color rule. So when someone says like, oh, my brand primary color is actually green, they thought that it should be used most often, like the biggest one, but actually no, like use it as like accentuating your design. So this is an example. You can see how inconsistency use of typographical system or fonts can destroy design or accessibility and brand awareness or like your branding, right? So if you want to improve this and refactor it, this is how it looks like. I use one font. So font pairing is very important. This is Manrope. So I use Manrope all throughout in here so that I can apply consistency. So it's actually much readable. It's also like providing me better idea and also like the brand directions of the design. But there's a glimpse of it. Of course, it's not that deeper, but in a study. But I just want to emphasize like how consistency help your brand identity, your um visual identity. So the next one is the design with emotions in typography. So when designing emotions in typography, there's actually like emotions that would imply like um like it invokes emotions when it comes to the text or typefaces that we chose. So these are example of it, like it's graceful. This graceful and trustworthy are both sans serif, but this they have different emotions that are actually showing. But just like typography. Okay, another example. So we have scary, we have enchanted. These are emotions, right? We have modern, corporate, sophisticated. So we have is impactful, glamorous. So typography plays a huge role when it comes to your design, the accessibility, the readability, even the brand. The next one, okay, just example. February 14 is coming up. So I love you now and forever. The emotion they're like, yeah, okay. Like it's just, okay, formally speaking. Or just like right? That's like how I react with this. But let's see this. I love you now and forever. The tone would be I love you now and forever. Right? Do you agree? Or it's just me? Alright. Another one that's like invoke sweetness or sentimental sincerity. Like I love you now and forever. But you have this. I love you now and forever. How do you feel if you see this? You feel flattered if someone sent you a card with this font? I wonder. All right. So it's creepy. Okay. It's threatening. Anyway, I think that's like the end, I guess. Of course. Yeah, that's the end of my discussion. I hope that you guys are able to learn a lot about it. Just some plugging, shameless plugging. We have an internship program happening. We're recruiting currently. The hiring is ongoing at Hyatt Adventures. Hyatt Adventure is a full remote company. I've been with this company for 6 years now, and we are looking for a multimedia designer, UX designer, and researcher. You can visit us at hov.co/careers. Also, Google developer script again, Dioro, Facebook and YouTube is at GDG CDO. And yeah, I'm going to also plug the HOV design. It's the department that I'm leading currently. But oh yeah, so I applied at HOV. Send me a message. And we have this Facebook. Also, like we are just starting, haven't launched yet in Cagayan de Oro City. We call it like Design Hive Community. We're launching soon, so that's why like follow us on our social media and HOV Design. We have our username is like pretty much the same. We have the HOV Design, and HOV Call. So you can follow us on social media. And I think like that's it. So thank you for joining. Actually, like enjoy this. But if you want to connect, just like send me an email, stella@hov.com, or you can also find me on LinkedIn. Let's connect. Stella Bravo is my username. I think that's it. Thanks.
All right. All right. So wow, that was very fun. A very fun session. I think it was a break from all the very technical stuff, like the
Thank
usual tech
you.
sessions we have. I personally found it really fun and engaging. Seeing the different effects of typography, especially at the end part, it really makes a difference.
Yeah.
So, thank you very much for that very informative presentation, Estella. So we are now going to proceed with our Q&A session. So I saw from a while ago we had a few questions already. Let's start with the first one from Gabriel Felipe. The question is, how about justifying text po? When siya applicable?
Okay, usually we apply justifying text when it comes to documents, like those formal documents. Like for example, we use it at least in our design practice in here. When it comes to legal documents, like those
Mhm.
needed to be signed, the contracts and stuff like that. It's usually for those. But when it comes to like web applications or website, I would actually stray away from justifying text.
Okay, so justifying for formal text, but for websites, not so much.
No,
All
no,
right.
left,
Yeah, because
left.
usually on the left alignment. Because I noticed for justifications also for books. If correct me if
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
wrong. Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, so more on the more formal side.
Mhm.
Okay, next one would be from Kit. Although Gabriel Felipe also helped in answering this one. What's a beginner friendly software for design?
Okay, beginner friendly for designers. Well, I've been using Figma for a lot, like since I think like I started like designing, and I think since way back like 5 years ago or six. But it also depends on like what kind of designer are you. Because like if you're a creative, like for example, if you're an illustrator, there's a lot of other options in there for you. Some designers actually thrive more on like using those large softwares already, like those
Mhm.
huge softwares. But if you're a designer, like a UI designer like me, I specialist in UI when I started design path.
Mhm.
I would go for Figma. And well, because like that's something that we're start uh, basically. But if you're looking for much simpler, if it's more on like website or web app, mobile app, aside from Figma, if you're using Mac, you can go for Sketch, and there's also like Adobe XD. Those are I think they're all beginner friendly. And also when it comes to software, I really don't think so. It does impact a lot on the way you deliver your design. It's more like skills and how you learn,
Mhm.
and also how comfortable you are with the software. So I think, but for now, I would recommend Figma because a lot of companies are actually using it. So you also have to consider the people that you're working, collaborating, because it's always been a team effort, right? Like in the case of working, team efforts, you have to consider what are the tools that your team members are using in order for you to collaborate.
Mhm. All right. Wow. So I hope you guys listed those tools Estella had suggested. So Figma is also
Mhm.
very common. So I hope that would also help you starting. Maybe you're starting to delve into graphic design. Okay. So next is from Rosie. The question is, Is there a standard font size and font style for social media infographics?
Hmm. Okay, for when it comes to standard social media, I've done it a lot before when I was studying OJT. I go to serif for the body text and sans serif. That's always like my go-to font style,
Mm,
like the serif and sans serif. They're really good pair. So I have to consider the font pairing as well. Consider using only one or two. Like maximum would be two, and if you want something that's free, very friendly, you don't have to make a lot of adjustments like line height or its line spacing, line or its letter spacing. I would go for the Inter. It's free and it's actually a very good starting point. When it comes to size for social media infographic, it actually depends. Like how long does this infographic? Usually, in my experience, infographic is really like this huge banner. They go to like a 2,000 in length. So I would still like go for the web standard, which is for paragraph, it's 20 px. And then maybe for headlines, start from 120 as your title, like the biggest.
mm.
Um, like size 120, 128, that range. And then go for 80, like go lower, like 72, 64, 56 for your header 1, header 2, 3, and 4. So that it can be your starting point.
Okay, there you have it. So I hope that answers your question, Rosie. Another one, this is uh, kind of related to the one you have mentioned a while ago. Ilang types po ng font style ang max number na pwedeng gamitin when creating your own brand?
Okay, creating a brand. All right. There's a lot of big things to consider when it comes to branding. Right? It's not just like more like, okay, I select this because this is beautiful. By the way, that's my pet peeve when someone's answered me because this is beautiful. Like, I need to study for it, girl. Or like, man, like I need a study behind this. Like, why are you choosing this? Like fonts. It's actually kind of typography is very complicated. As like everyone might know, I'm not a typography. Just a disclaimer, I'm not a typography expert. Like I can consider myself as a practitioner, but like really I'm learning. But when it comes to font style, max number is two, as I've mentioned earlier. Go for two, or to make your life easier, just go for one and play around for the weight, size, and also the color combination. Go for one, I would say.
Okay, there you have it. So two is the recommended one, but if you want it
Uh,
to be simpler, you can go for
yeah.
just one. Okay, thank you very much for that question. We have, I think, our last question for this one. This is from Kali. How
Mhm.
does dark mode work? Does that mean two designs were created or nakaprogram na siya?
Hmm. Okay. So actually, way back before when dark mode got uh like mainstream and stuff like that. Okay. So I think when it comes to like this is just like for engineering. I'm not really familiar with the engineering anymore. Like I haven't coded for so many years already. But all I know is that they have different like system, like separate system for light and dark mode. But for now, the when it comes to like your system, and they go for a design system. Like so, it's another study. It's a huge study when it comes to design system, but nowadays they actually optimize it. Like, especially in the engineering department, they were optimize it that their work is actually both friendly for light and dark. So you can program that. You can set a system in your team. Like it's really a collaborative work between designers and engineers or programmers. So when designers chose colors, always consider like how will it be in contrast if it's in dark mode. So you
Mm,
can test. One of the technique that I always used is HSB rather than hex. HSB, hue, saturation, and brightness. I have my light mode and then I just change the saturation and brightness and then have it friendly to dark mode and then I test it in the dark mode. Most of the time, I actually got it correct. It makes my life
mm,
easier rather than just choosing hex. So use HSB when choosing colors for light mode and dark mode.
Okay. Wow. So a lot of work gets a lot of work is being done when it comes to creating this one. So um personally ba, Stella, do you prefer light mode or dark mode?
Huh. It actually like being a designer, it does like take a toll on my emotional level. I have my emotional breakdown time to time because I have to understand, keep myself in the shoe of the user. So it does require emotions. But when it comes to light and dark mode, I when reading, I actually prefer light mode because it gives me happy hormones. It's just like that feeling, like it gives me lighter day, positive energy. So I go for a light mode. But when it comes to working on Figma, and I wanted to go more serious, like focused, and I also don't want my eyes hurt. And if it's late at night, I go for dark mode. So
Oh,
like I switch from time to time. Depends on like the purpose and also the
oh,
mood.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, there you have it. What about you guys? Which one do you prefer? All right, so we have may pahabol na question po, Estela. So we have
Okay.
from Gabriel again. Is it okay to have dynamic font size based on height or width of your mobile device, or mas better na static ang font size mobile devices?
Mobile devices. It's actually, if you just focused on mobile platforms, having a static is like, I think, practical if you're just starting, like starting developing or creating as an initial, because you don't want to be stuck in there. Like when it comes to like creating applications, you don't want to be stuck on like choosing your typography and choosing like stuff. It may be play visual and UX, but don't let yourself get stuck in there. So it's okay to start with being static. Because like you can actually apply the standard or like the optimal sizes, and it will works fine on different devices.
Okay, there you have it. Thank you very much. Okay, one last pahabol. The
Okay,
comments are
go
coming
ahead.
in already. We have one from Anna Katrina Kamitok. What do you do po when you experience creative block?
Okay, I've done like a lot of. I just have experience last night a creative block. Okay, that's very fresh. All right. I mean, like it depends actually when it comes to the creative block that mm, maybe like when designing. So I usually go for creating like mood boards, visit stuff. But the most effective one that I have practiced when experiencing this is actually just to stay away from all of my, like get a break, drink coffee, stand, like walk, like you in your surrounding, like within just like you where you are currently. Just like taking a break. Allow yourself to think away from work. Just relax and take a deep breath. That is like the practice that I over the years that I have, it actually helps me when it comes to creative block. Just like relax, because potentially when you have a creative block, it means that you're just confused. The direction is a bit fuzzy.
Mm-hmm.
So I just like go out from my like working space. And then sometimes I go to shower, like actually to be honest. Like I just go to shower, take like a cold shower there. And then the number three practice or like that I do is reading book. So it's my go-to, like just like read book. And then because like it's just train me away from what I'm currently working. So it helps.
Okay, so take time to take a break whenever you have
Yeah.
a creative block. Okay, thank you very much for all your questions. And thank you again, Stella, for that very engaging and informative presentation. So, again, if you would like to connect with Estella, we have here the information. You can connect with her after this session on these accounts. They also have their internship ongoing, so go ahead and apply for this one. Is there anything else you want to add, Estella?
I think I'm good. I actually enjoyed like a lot of like viewers have been asking questions. I love it. I love like answering your question. It means that you're listening. I appreciate virtual talk has been really challenging these days with all the internet problems. But thank you, Stack League, for also get to invite us as well. And then yeah, if you need like to contact me, just like email me Estella at hov.com. Very simple email.
Okay, there you have it. Thank you to everyone for your questions, and thank you, of course, Estella Bravo, for answering our questions and for that very insightful presentation. We hope we get to do this again this year. Another tech session with Estella. Thank you again. All right. So there we have it. That concludes the Stack League GDG CDO tech session, the impact of typography on user experience. Now we are going to move on to the next part of our program. And for this one, whether you are a career shifter or graduating student who is interested in pursuing a career in tech and would love to start your journey as a programmer or a developer, our full stack coding bootcamp might be something for you. So to discuss the full stack coding bootcamp, we have here Haifa Karina, the head of growth of StackTrack.
Everyone. If today you are very interested to pursue a career as a coder in the IT industry, but isn't confident with your skills or with having zero or minimal experience, then this opportunity is for you. In the next few minutes, you'll learn about the StackTrack Full Stack Bootcamp that trains you to become a job-ready programmer in just 4 months. So as you can see here, you have two options. The first one is the co-living bootcamp. This is the first of its kind here in the Philippines as it combines both learning and lifestyle into one exciting and rewarding experience. It means you will be living in one building with other boot campers and you will be able to leverage all of the amenities and the social experience of learning with other boot campers. And then the other option is digital. It is virtual. That means you can take this boot camp anywhere. By anywhere, it means if you are in the province, then you can take this boot camp at the comforts of your home. Or if you enjoy traveling, then you can also take the boot camp while you are traveling. Now, for you to be able to understand and get a picture of what exactly are we going to do when we enter the boot camp. So, let's assume that you already applied and earned a slot in the boot camp. Here in the next few minutes, you can also imagine and also experience virtually what it is like, what you will be doing, and what will be the experience like learning with StackTrack. So the first thing that you do in your day is have the daily discussions with your trainers and peers. So since you will be building real world applications, always remember that in this boot camp, we focus on your practical skills, the skills that you can really use and immediately practice. And in your daily discussions with your trainer, you will be covering various topics. And the topics that you will be covering will depend based on what module you are in during that day or during that week. So remember, you are building real world applications, and the benefit here for you, especially if you have zero experience yet, is that at the end of the boot camp, you will already have a bunch of projects that can showcase your skills based on the real world applications that you already built. So the next thing that you do after your daily discussions with your trainers and peers is that you now go on and do and complete your hands-on coding modules. It also covers advanced curriculum. We want to focus on the topics and the skills that is relevant today, not relevant 5 years ago, but relevant today and in the future as well. So, after you go through the module, do the exercises, learn the things that you need to learn, once you hit a bump or you're having a difficulty, the platform or the bootcamp has a one-on-one live trainers capability. And what exactly is this? So in just one click, when you are having a problem with the exercises that you're doing or the project that you are doing, in just one click, you get connected to the next available trainer, and then you will be able to chat with that trainer immediately. So you can share your screen with the trainer, you can code together with your trainer, and you can discuss with the trainer with the challenges that you are having. As you can see, it's quite different because as you code together with your trainer, it feels like it's very interactive and it's very personal because the trainer is focused on you as you try to learn that specific skill or try to resolve that specific challenge. So here we would like to show you what it is like. So here we have an example of a trainer named John, and John is talking with his trainer and trying to consult the problem that he is having. So on the right side, there is that chat, and then at the middle is you can see the code that they are working or coding together. And this is an example of one of the projects from one of our boot campers. So they are building real world applications so that at the end of the boot camp, again, you will have a portfolio ready that showcases your acquired skills. But one of the important things that we also would like to highlight is that in this boot camp, it's not just about the technologies that you learn. At the start of the boot camp, you are going to focus on the module that builds you your core foundation. And having a strong coding foundation allows you to learn different technologies faster. The full stack bootcamp has demo days. So we have demo days each month. And what I will show you is one of the websites built by one of the programmers, and that he was able to build this website in just 1 month in the bootcamp. So as you can see, even if you have zero background, the bootcamp is beginner friendly enough for you to understand and be able to build websites even if you have zero background. In the StackTrack Bootcamp, the platform that you will be using is the most advanced training technology here in the Philippines. And the big difference here, we are more focused and having you do more coding hours. If you do more hands-on, you are able to apply immediately the skills that you just learned. The more you apply the skills, the more you realize the things that you need to improve on. And as you learn and apply these skills, you get better and better at it. There you have two options, the co-living and the digital. Digital is virtual, so you can take this one anywhere. And co-living is that you will be living with other boot campers and learning at the same time. Now, we would like to add more details on what the co-living is like. So the co-living bootcamp, you don't have to worry about anything else but to learn and experience life. You don't have to worry about spending for food anymore. It is already covered. Also, the accommodation is also included. The good thing about it is that beyond just learning, of course, we need to live our lives. There is a rooftop wherein if you need a breather, you can just be there, get some air. There are lounges that you can chill around. So in the co-living boot camp, it's really different than just a typical boot camp. You learn because that's the main thing that you want to do in the boot camp. But also there are in-person sessions wherein you get inspired from people from the industry. In the co-living boot camp, there are barbecue nights, movie nights, and weekend parties that you can be part of and socialize. You can also leverage on the amenities and gym program. This is what it looks like to be part of the co-living bootcamp. It's very different. You learn, but at the same time, you have fun. So the co-living bootcamp is situated mainly around BGC and Makati. So you can imagine that if you want to also go out, it's BGC is just 5 minutes walking distance. And the benefits of being part of the bootcamp is that we have job partners wherein we negotiated with them that if you are a graduate of the bootcamp, you will have at least 25 to 30K starting salary. And this is quite high considering that you have zero experience and you are still starting out. So one of the key benefits here at StackTrack Full Stack Bootcamp is that more than just a learning, we help you accelerate your career. So don't worry about having zero experience. Don't worry about being a non-coder and you want to enter the industry. Because if you finish and be a graduate of the bootcamp, you already have guaranteed job interviews. And if you graduate at the top 30, then you have guaranteed job offers already. There's no stopping you in getting the IT industry. As long as you are with the Stack Track Full Stack Bootcamp, then the opportunities for you is beyond just learning. It goes over to you landing your first job and landing a highly paying job as well. So here, why IT? These are just the published rates of IT today. If you have 1 to 4 years, you will be earning on average 45K monthly. If with 5 years, you will be earning around 80K. As you level up, let's say to senior manager, you can even go to 172,000 for your monthly salary. Once you are able to enter the IT industry, the first step is the hardest, but once you are already in, over opportunities are left and right. So you really have high earning potential once you are able to enter the IT industry. And with that one, if you are interested, you can apply now. The link is here below. It's bit.ly/StackTrack Bootcamp application. And if you have questions, then feel free to find us on Facebook. You can message us there. And we hope that the Stack Track Full Stack Bootcamp is one of the opportunities that you will leverage on as you enter the IT industry and land your first tech job. And with that one, thank you so much, everyone, and have a good day.
All right, so there we have it. Thank you very much, Haifa, for that informative presentation about the full stack bootcamp. If you want to know more, you can also register for an info session. This is via Zoom. You can ask or raise your questions there. You can sign up at bit.ly/stacktrack bootcamp feb 7, and that would be on February 7 as well. All right. So, and then if you have questions also, if you have any other questions about the bootcamp, you can also message us on Facebook at fb.com/stacktrack. And here are the upcoming Stack League announcements. We have, of course, our official launch on February 10, Friday at 6 p.m. This is you can join us in person at the Microsoft office, and the address is over here. Or you can also join us virtually via our YouTube channel. And during our Stack League Season 3 official launch, we will be announcing more of the mechanics, the cash prizes, and finally the official start of the scoring. All right, so go ahead and register already. The slots are very limited since we also have an in person event. Go ahead and register at bit.ly/Stack League Season 3. We have another session, Stack League session coming up, and this is with PWA Pilipinas. It's me, hi, I'm the brand on February 28th, 6 p.m. You can also register at bit.ly/stackleague-feb28. And of course, our pre-season cash prizes are still ongoing. The Treasure Chest Individuals and Level Up will be open until February 11. That's on Saturday at 11:59 p.m. So you can still catch up, you can still win the weekly prizes. There are also plenty of opportunities for you to learn here in Stack League. Just go to facebook.com/stackleague/events for the registration details and get the latest updates. To also help improve the Stack League team, to help improve the sessions for you, kindly answer this question form bit.ly/stack league sessions feedback, or you can scan the QR code flashed on your screen. And that's it for our announcements. On behalf of the Stack League team, I would like to say thank you to everybody for joining the Stack League GDG CDO tech session, the impact of typography on user experience. If you don't have a Stack League account yet, make sure to join and sign up now at stackleague.com. Don't forget to also invite your friends and family who you think should be part of the league. See you guys at the official launch and on our next tech sessions. This has been your host, Casey. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.